and Pharmaceuticals in association with Higher Secondary Principals Forum.
Dear students, after knowing the 7th chapter, we learn how to do the mining. Now the next important chapter we are going to talk about the manufacturing industries. Now manufacturing industries, you know that it is a secondary activity, and generally we classify our activities into different types like primary activities, secondary activities, tertiary activities, quinary activities. And in the we can say group first lesson or in the first part of the syllabus, this particular point is already covered by the earlier teacher who might have told you in detail about the distribution of the industries or manufacturing industries in the different part of the world. But in this particular chapter, we are going to give concentration on, we can say, what is meant by the manufacturing industry. Already all these we can say points, whatever the basic factors which I am going to deal with you, already you had learned in your, we can say, first book. But anyway, if you want to study in detail about the manufacturing industry, you have to remember that any country, if they want to economically develop, then what they have to do it, they have to give more concentration on industries. In the earlier days, now compare India in the past, compare India present and think about India for the future. Before 1947, our industrial sector was not that much developed. But after 1947 to 1980, there was a stage where the industrial development started taking place. 80 to 2000, you had seen miraculous changes, and from 2001 onwards to 2020, we had seen lot of changes has been taken place in the field of the industrial sector, and therefore we can proudly say that India is self-developed in various industrial parts. Only we can say people are talking something else, that China market is decreasing, American market, no market is going to affect the Indian market, because we are competent enough to compete in the world market. Only one thing is what happens here, if you compare ourselves with that of the China, whatever the manpower, even both the countries are having the manpower, but here what happens, technically we are lacking behind, and because of technically lacking behind, we are facing the number of difficulties. But with the help of COVID-19, I think our country will flourish in the days to come, because we learn a lesson that we can survive with limited resources. Earlier days we never used to think about we can say if the milk is not there, we used to shout it. Now we are accustomed, if the milk is not there also, how to live it, the COVID-19 had taught to us. And that's why we have to remember that these manufacturing industries will make a beautiful changes in the days to come. Now if I want to start the industry, what are the basic requirements for me? As a layman, I don't know anything about that one. But suppose as a student or as an entrepreneur, if you want to start any, we can say, industry, you require all these factors. Out of that, first and most important factor will be nothing but the capital. Now you will ask me the question, how much capital I require to start any industry? As we can say, depend your capital or investment is always depends upon nature of the industry. If you want to do handicraft industry, if you want to go for power loom, you require limited capital. If you want to go large scale industry, you require the capital. Why we require the capital? To buy the machinery, to buy the equipment, to buy the transporting thing, to buy the land, everything we require the capital. And therefore, any individual or any group of the people, or we can say any country, if they are ready to invest huge amount of capital, then only we can say that the development of the industry is possible. Second important point we need will be nothing but the fuel. Now before fuel, what is required to you? Suppose capital is there, but I don't have raw material, how I can run my industry? So naturally we require the raw material, and raw material is a basic requirement for every type of the industry, and therefore whatever the industries in India or in the world, they may classify on the basis of the raw material also. Now the raw material is why it is very important, because weight of the raw material, transportation cost, everything should be taken into account. Say for example iron ore. Iron ore, if I transport it to a longer distance away from the coal mining areas, I have to spend lot of money on transporting the iron ore as well as coal. And that's why what iron and steel industries they are doing, they are trying to locate themselves nearby the areas where the iron ore or we can say coal is available. And that's why we have to remember that raw material is basically playing an important role in order to bring the changes in the industry. You take example about sugar industry. Sugarcane is a perishable. If I say that now you take example about Goa itself. The Goa now sugar, our factory had stopped last year to do the production. Ultimately, we started sending it to Karnataka. So our government has to spend money on transport. At the same time, they have to pay to, we can say, farmers. It was a double costing to us, because sugarcane is a perishable commodity. It must be disposed as early as possible. And for that particular purpose, we call it as a raw material oriented industry. And therefore, if you want to establish the industry, we have to think about the nature of the raw material, we have to think about the fuel, and then only you can establish the industry. For example, cotton textile industry is market oriented industry because cotton is light in nature and demand for the textile is from the market, and therefore the raw material is considered to be second important part which is basically required to run the industry. Third important point is the fuel. Now I got capital, I got raw material, but I don't have electricity, I don't have coal, I don't have petroleum, I cannot run my industry. So for that particular purpose, fuel is taking the very important role, and suppose if the coal deposits are available in your area, then you can develop the industry. Otherwise, transporting the raw material or transporting the fuel will be costlier in nature. After knowing that one, we require again the skilled labor. So skilled labors are essential. Every industry wants the skilled labors. You will ask me the question, why we require skilled labor for brick making industry? If you don't provide the skilled labors for the brick making industry, you cannot get quality of the brick. So every industry in the world or every industry in India need always skilled people. And therefore, the country like India, we say jobs are not there. There are plenty of the jobs, but we don't have skilled people. Then the question comes, who has to skill us? Somebody has to give us the training, but nobody want to give the training because once I take the training, I will say goodbye to that industry. I will go to new one because I will get the salary more compared to what that industry had given us. And that's why if the country want to develop or if industry want to develop, I always require the skilled laborers. Even you take example about dairy industry. Then you will ask me the question, why dairy cattle are there? No, you go there, clean the cattle, take the milk. It is not like that. You have to love the cattle like a human being. And if you love the cattle like human being, if you take the proper care of the cattle, then only cattle will give very good output. Then only it is possible for you to run the industry. That's why students try to remember that every industry always like the skilled laborers. Now after that skilled laborers, we require, we can say generally transport. So transport is very, very important. So ultimately we can say transport, the industry and market must be connected by the proper transport. If the industry and market is not connected by the transport, then the problem comes for your product. You cannot dispose it off. But at the same time, you have to remember that industry and market must be close by. Then your product will be having what proper value and you can reduce the cost of the transport. Otherwise, the cost of the transport increases. Ultimately, what will happen? Nobody will buy your product. That is very, very important as per the transport is concerned. Then you require ready market. Now transport is available, everything is there. I am producing huge quantity of the textile. Big market is there, but people are living below the poverty line. Who will buy my product? Nobody will buy my product. So I have to think in that way that whatever the market I am having, it should be ready or it should be, we can say, appreciable in nature. People should live above the poverty line or their buying capacity should be more. Then only my industry will develop. That's why market is important. After that one, we need water, because water is required not only for the industries, but the people, laborers, or we can say dependence on the industry. Everyone need the water, and therefore there should be a proper water supply. And if the water supply is not available, our industry cannot able to function properly. Now coming back to government policy, very, very important and very serious matter. The country like India, our government policies are, we can say, creating many problems. And our government policies, what happens, it is our one file is passing through number of sections, and therefore to clear that file, it will take some more years. By that time, the person will lost his importance or lost his intensity about starting the business, and that is one of the important point you have to remember when you are talking about, we can say, government policy. So government should keep the open door policy, government should train the people, government will must tell the entrepreneur, you come up, you give the job. And that's why when we talk with our student, always we tell that you provide the job to somebody. You work under somebody, get the knowledge, start your own thing, and I want that you should feed someone, then only you can achieve something. Otherwise, every time, whole year of our life, we work under somebody and we taken the birth, we are dying in the same condition. That should not be there. And therefore, even the country like America or country like China, why we are giving the example of them, country like Japan, why we give the example of them? People want to be entrepreneur, and when the people want to be entrepreneur, ultimately government policies are open door policies. Government encourage the people to start the industries, and when the government encourage the people to start the industries, people will come forward and the industrial development is there. But in the country like India, I don't want to tell always about negative thing. But here what happens, the common man, if he go to get to any proposal or any loan, getting is very, very difficult to him because of so many complication phenomena are there. And that is what the government policy is very, very important if you want to start, we can say, any kind of the industry. Besides that, so many other factors are important in that particular sector. If you refer your book, you will be getting more and more information in that particular part. Now, what is meant by agglomeration and dispersal of the industry? This is actually not mentioned in your book, but I am telling you why it is important. Because many times we don't know agglomeration and dispersal of the industry. This is serious. These 2 points are very, very serious in nature. What is meant by agglomeration? Agglomeration means accumulation of the industry. When all these factors are favorable, then industries are noticed in one particular area, and that particular region we commonly call it as an agglomeration of industry, and this agglomeration of industry help each other. Now here how it help each other? Suppose I may be one industrialist and there are 4 or 5 other industries are there. I am using raw material and giving one finished product. That finished product maybe we can say raw material to somebody else. For example, I may be producing the boxes and my next to it there is an industry who is producing the TV. So my box will be used for him to pack the TV. So I am helping him. Sometimes I may supply my labor, sometimes I may supply my machinery, sometimes I will give power resources to him, sometimes I will give you, we can say, skilled laborers. So he can also influence, and that is important as per the agglomeration is concerned. But after Second World War, this agglomeration had converted into dispersal of the industries, because agglomeration had created number of problems. At the same time, if large number of industries are accumulated in a particular area, so many problems are generated. There will be overpopulation, the problem of medical facilities, education, transport, everything is created. Second important point will be what? This agglomeration become target for the enemies during the wartime. For example, Japan accepted a defeat in Second World War. Why Japan accepted the defeat? Because Hiroshima and Nagasaki were attacked by the America, which are the industrial centers. And that is one of the reasons why we can say Japan faced the problem in the Second World War. But now if you visit the Japan, there is no memories of the Second World War in Japan. Till today, if something happens in India, we go on celebrating that one. Somebody had died in so many years, we celebrate. But you take example about Japan, Japan never celebrated the Second World War effect. But Japan decided themselves that yes, I have to change myself, and they had established all the industries. You take example about Tata, when we can say this one, the Taj was attacked by, we can say, terrorists. Tata was thinking what is to be done. But Tata is always having the visionaries. Recent we can say comment by the Tata, you might have heard it, and that particular part about what the Tata had told the people, try to live this year, that 2020 only you try to live, and next year you try to think about earning the money. This is always vision of the Tata during that time. And even when the Taj was attacked by the terrorists, Tata had thought that on my Taj, thousands of families are depending. If I stop it, so many families will be jobless or will not survive. And with that intention, Tata had taken the challenge and started the same. Same thing that Japan had done during the Second World War. When the Japan accepted the defeat, Japan started developing by itself. And that's why now after the Second World War, many countries in the world, they are preferring for the dispersal of the industries. Now you take example about Mumbai, you take example about Bangalore, you take about Chennai. Government is insisting the industries to move away from the Mumbai. Why they are telling them to move away from the Mumbai? Because Mumbai is totally overcrowded. And because of the overcrowding, so many problems are generated in Mumbai. And that's why if you happen to go to the industrial part between Mumbai to Pune, you will see that number of industrial units are set up. Even Bangalore, Mysore, then Chennai, Bangalore, all these areas are converted into industrial belt, and that is need of the hour. So that once the industries are dispersed throughout the area, it will solve many problems. Local people will also get the job. They don't require to migrate to the urban areas. So many problems are, we can say, solved by means of that one. Now after that one, we are coming to major industries in India. Will be nothing there, so many industries are there, but as per your syllabus is concerned, we are stick up with many industries. Out of that one, first and most important industry will be nothing but iron and steel industries, cotton textile industries, sugar industries, and so on. Now out of that, first and most important industry for all of us will be nothing but the iron and steel industry. Because you can see in Goa, you can see in every area, you can see your own house. When you want to construct, you require iron and steel on a larger extent. And if iron and steel is not available, ultimately you cannot run any industry in any part of the world. And therefore, even in the olden days, before we can say 1947 and so on, India was depending on finished iron and steel from the foreign sector. We used to send only ore from the India to the other countries. But only we can say Jamshedji Tata came forward, he started Tata Iron and Steel Company first, and now you can see that lot of changes has been taken place throughout the country, and one can able to see about 10 to 12 plants which are very large scale plants which are functioning in India, solving the major issues about, we can say, supplying the iron and steel to our country. And generally this basic requirement for the iron and steel industry is, one is about we can say limestone, we require dolomite, we require we can say manganese, at the same time we need the fire clay. These are all basic requirements to run we can say iron and steel industries. Now these iron and steel industries, I already told you, either they should be noticed nearby the iron ore areas or they should be noticed nearby the coal deposit. Now because of that particular reason, most of our iron and steel industries are noticed on the northeastern side of the India. Even I will show you on the map how the things are there, and out of these iron and steel industries, we have, these are the very important industries, while TISCO, ISCO, VSIL, VISL, Rourkela, then Bhilai, then we are having Durgapur and then Bokaro. Out of that TISCO, you may be knowing TISCO is very famous one. If you travel by we can say our Howrah Express, you can get down at Tata Nagar and you try to visit. This is one of the best, what I had seen, one of the best industry in our country, managed totally by the Tata. There is no interference of the government agencies in that area, and if you see, people are so living peacefully and everything, no garbage, nothing is done. I am not going to talk about other things, but only we will concentrate on the industry first. So this Tata Iron and Steel plant located at a distance of 240 kilometers away from the Calcutta. Then here how they will get the things what they want. Actually water which they are getting it, or we can say Karkal river and we can say Subranaka river. These are the very small rivers are there, but they supply the water for the Tata Iron and Steel. Beside that, they had constructed number of borewells there, and with the help of borewells they are taking the water. They get the iron ore from we can say Normandy areas and we can say Badampur region, and coal is obtained from the Joda mine. But remember that this Tata Iron and Steel plant is located on we can say railway line, and one located or very close by to the railway line, and additional railway line is given to Tata Iron and Steel to supply we can say coal and finished product. That's why this particular plant is running very nicely with the help of we can say support from the government as well as railways and other sectors. Now we are having next one is ISCO. ISCO is nothing but Indian we can say iron and steel company. This plant is located at we can say Kulti and Burhanpur. In the next map I am showing you all the things. Then here they get the coal from we can say two areas. One is we can say they get Rajmula, then we can say Jharia coal field is also there, and they get iron ore from what Singbom, and water is obtained from we can say Barakar river. Then we are having VSIL. Actually VSIL was originally named as Mysore Iron and Steel. But to give the credit to our, we can say, intelligent architecture, Vishveshwaraya, the name has been given to them as an Vishveshwaraya Iron and Steel plants. Many of the students, you may be aware about the Vishveshwaraya, who are the pioneer to construct, we can say, number of dams in the world. And you may be knowing, many of us, we don't know Vishveshwaraya. Sometimes when we ask the question in the classroom, who is the chief minister, till today we are saying Manohar Parrikar. Because we are not accustomed with the knowledge only. Otherwise, my student will take the, we can say this one, he will ask the Google. And now in the future, I think every time we want to take the bath also, we are asking the Google. We are so much accustomed with the Google in that particular direction. That's why this Vishveshwaraya is one of the pioneer in many we can say dam sites in India. For example, if you go to Kaveri River project, the dam is constructed by the Vishveshwaraya. Even in America, he had constructed the dam where at the center, the name of the India is there. India in the, we can say English, and Bharat in, we can say in our, we can say this one, our usual words are mentioned. But here what happens, he located that tile at the center. And if you just press that tile, if you want to remove the tile, water starts flowing from the top. If you remove it, there is a damage to the, we can say, the particular, this one dam. So that was the idea used by the Vishveshwaraya during that time. And to give the credit and respect to the Vishveshwaraya, ultimately Karnataka government had taken the decision to give the name to the plant is as an Vishveshwaraya Iron and Steel. And they will be located, we can say, close by to, we can say, Kemangundi, in we can say Baba Budan Hills, very close by to Baba Budan Hills. Earlier days, they were not having, we can say, coal deposit. This is the only plant in southern part of the India we are facing the difficulty, because southern part of the India we don't have coal deposits, so we have to totally depending on electricity by some other agencies, which was expensive in nature. And during earlier days, what they used to do it, they used to cut the forest and use the forest for the purpose of, we can say, energy, and that energy was used to, we can say, manufacture the iron and steel. But afterwards, when the Jogfall, we can say, project came into existence, they start getting the electricity from that one, and then Bhadravati river is trying to supply the water to this plant, and that's why this plant is considered to be one of the important plant in the southern portion of India. Coming back to Rourkela Iron and Steel located in the Sundargarh district of the Orissa, and they will be getting the coal from Jaria coalfields and iron ore from Sundargarh, power supply from we can say Hirakud Dam, and water supply will be taking place from the coal river. Then we are having the Bhilai Iron and Steel plant located in Durg district of Chhattisgarh, iron ore from we can say Dali and Rajaria mines, and coalfield from we can say Korba. Beside that, Durgapur and other we can say are the major plants noticed in we can say the different part of the region. Now here I had shown you on this particular map how these plants are located. You can able to see this particular portion, generally Chotanagpur plateaus and surrounding areas. This particular portion is associated more number of we can say industries, and only one we can say industry notice here is nothing but we can say Bhadravati areas, and these we can say plants are located in Bihar, Orissa and West Bengal region. And why they are noticed here? Because here coal mines are there, iron ore is also there. At the same time we can say whatever the limestone requirements are there, all these things are available in this area, and that's why these industries are located in this particular region. But if you take about the central portion of India and this particular portion, we don't see much more plants here. Only mini plants are noticed in all those areas, but there we can say presence is quite limited in nature. Now coming back to another industry, one is we can say sugar industry and second one is petrochemical industry. These two industries are also very important industries for the economic development of the nation. And if you just study or refer the different books, even in your first portion or first chapter you might have studied about the sugar industry and so on, world distribution, then that time we can say Brazil is one of the leading, or Brazil is the leading exporter of the sugar market. But if you see the overall scenario of the world, India is actually the leading producer of the sugar in the world. But our consumption is very large, and that's why we say that we are generally producing around 8% of total world sugar production will be coming from that of the India. And generally it will be noticed beside the sugar, we are going to get khansari and jaggery are also prepared by using the we can say sugar cane. And that's why the sugar industry is very important to us, because it is used for the distilleries. Because distilleries also need we can say raw material that is obtained as the end product from the sugar industry, that will be sent to them, and whatever the waste of the sugar cane is there, that can be converted into thin sheets and so on, used for the purpose of making the cardboards and other sectors. That's why the sugar industry got more importance, and this is considered to be we can say raw material oriented industry. Now here the question comes, why we call it as a raw material oriented industry? Because we can say sugarcane is a perishable commodity. If you keep the sugarcane for 4 or 5 days, you see what is the condition? It goes on drying. Sugar content remains same, but weight will be less. And that's why what we are going to do it, wherever the sugarcane growing sectors are there, those areas only we have established our industry. Now coming back to the location of them, Maharashtra is the leading producing state as per the sugarcane is concerned, and the production is coming from almost all the districts of the Maharashtra. And production beside this Maharashtra, we are getting the production from Karnataka, UP and Tamil Nadu. Here I had reduced again the localities. Why I reduced the localities? If I go down explaining to you all the localities, it will take another 10 minutes. So naturally you remember that Maharashtra, if you take Bandara district, you can take Kolhapur, Satara, Sangli, Nagar, then you can go even you can say Shirdi. All those areas if you just visited, you will see that sugarcane is grown on a larger scale, and that sugarcane will be undergoing the process. But here in Maharashtra they face the problem. Even though Maharashtra sugar industry run almost 6 to 7 months, but almost 30% of the sugarcane they have to we can say use it as a fodder, because industry is not accepting them. That is one of the reason where the Maharashtra facing the problem. In Karnataka many localities, you go to we can say Ballari, you go to Belgaum district, you go to we can say Nippani, then Khanapur, all those areas in Karnataka we have. UP also the quality of the sugarcane is very good compared to the qualities in southern portion of India. Now here one important point comes is in the case of UP, whatever the sugarcane you are producing is very good quality. Even a single sugarcane can give 1 liter of the juice. That is a speciality of you can say UP and other areas because of Indo-Ganga plains. And that is one of the reason why we can say UP is also producing huge quantity of the sugar. Tamil Nadu sugarcane industries are quite limited in nature. Next industry what we are going to do will be nothing but we can say petrochemical industry, and these petrochemical industries are not that much developed in the country like India. The reason behind that one is we don't have crude oil petroleum production. Only we can say Digboi is there, Ankleshwar is there, then we will be having some part in the southern region. But whatever the product you are getting from them will be used for the different sector, and there are 3 industrial sectors has been divided here. Which are the three industrial sectors? The three organizations which are working under petrochemical sectors are Indian petrochemical sector, which is responsible for petrochemical like polymer, chemical and fiber. That's why this industry is very, very important to almost all the industry, because they supply polymers, they supply chemicals, they supply the fibers. Second important we can say is nothing but the Petrophil Cooperative Limited, which produces polyester filaments, yarn. And the third will be Central Institute of Plastic Engineering, involved in training activities. Now here you will ask me the question, what is this plastic industry is having link with the petrochemical industry? Because whatever the petrochemical byproducts are there, they are used in almost all the things, and that's why this third sector is very, very important, because it will be giving the training to all these people. And these petrochemical industries are located in Mumbai, they are located in Pimpri Chinchwad, then they are located in Cochin, even we can say Mathura areas also. We have the industrial we can say sector. Then the petrochemical sector, it will be deriving we can say various products are there, and then in that petrochemical product you will come to know that it is a raw material for many other industries. Three organizations already we discussed it, that is Indian Petrochemical Limited, then all those things are there, and they will be playing the important role to carry out we can say various activities. Now coming back to, we are coming to one more important industry, will be nothing but we can say cotton textile industry. Along with the cotton textile industry, we have to prepare about jute industry also. Now in the case of the cotton textile industry, we call the cotton textile industry as what? Market oriented industry. Now why we call it as a cotton textile as market oriented industry? Because the cotton is light in nature. So cotton can be transported easily by means of we can say the roadways, and there is a demand for the we can say what? Demand for the textile from the market sector. And because of that particular demand, these industries are noticed very close by to the marketing area. You see about before independent, we can say pre-independence and post-independence sector about this industry. If you study, you will come to know that in before we can say 1947, India was exporting raw cotton to various parts of the world, especially UK. But after 1947 or even before that, so industry started establishing in India, and now you can see that India is a leading producer as per our muslin is concerned. And if you just read out all the articles which are coming there, Indian cotton textile are going in the world market, and world market products are coming to India. For example, jean is not actually required in the country like India, but jeans are coming from western sector to Indian market, and our we can say churidars and everything, cotton dresses are going to the world market. So who is leading the world? We are only leading the world. We are sending the product to foreign countries. We get finished product from them. For example, made in Japan. We always prefer that cloth which is made in Japan. We prefer it. But where it is made in India only, by the Indian industries, only mark as a Japan. It goes to Japan, come back from Japan to India. Even chocolates, if you take example, Nestle is the main supplier of the chocolates in the world market. Marking is done in Saudi Arabia, or printing is done in India, goes to Saudi, from Saudi it will come back. So chocolates are lucky because they are flying and they are coming back to Indian market. Now coming back to, we can say we will be why our industries are developing day by day in the regions like Mumbai and so on. We have to remember that we have having, we can say, skilled laborers are there with us at the cheaper rate. Large demand is there from the market, and therefore the cotton textile industry had captured very good market in the country like India. Now different kinds of the industries are included in that particular part. One is the handloom and powerloom. You may be remembering that handloom is having good demand in the world market. If you take example about Belgaum and so on, where the power looms are there, and whatever the sarees manufactured in Belgaum and all those things, they are going to world market because many people are buying those from the world market sector because of the good quality of the sarees from India. Even chudidars and all those things are going from this region, and therefore these handlooms and power looms. Now handlooms are many cases they are decreasing in number. Only in case of the silk industries and so on, they are using these handloom activities, and handlooms and powerloom industries are located in the states of Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. Maharashtra, you can see most of the localities. Maharashtra, you can take Solapur, Ratnagiri, all those areas. You will be having, we can say, gigantic industries are there. And if you see the scenario here on this map, you will come to know that, see how these industries are. When I was talking about the iron and steel industries, I located this much portion. But when I am talking about the textile sector, I had located this entire portion here, where every sector we are having the large scale industries are there, and it will be noticed in that particular form. And then coming to, we can say, next important part, and that is a we can say very important and essential part is knowledge based industry. Now knowledge-based industries captured the good market. Even you take example about Penjim and so on, you can see the multi-story buildings are constructed for what? These knowledge-based industries. And these knowledge-based industries will provide the knowledge to you, whatever your mobile network or whatever your ATMs, all those things are related to our knowledge-based industries. And these knowledge-based industries includes, we can say, KPO, that is knowledge processing outsourcing, and BPO, that is business processing outsourcing. They had kept the open door market in the world sector. If you go to the Pune or if you go to, we can say, Bangalore, Chennai hub, you can see that all our IT people from Goa and all those things, why they go to that area? Because they are getting the job there. And India is a major, we can say, supplier of knowledge to world market. We can supersede the world without much more difficulty, because most of our knowledge based sector is working on the foreign areas. So whatever our children are working in Pune, Bangalore, etc., they are working in IT sector. They are serving whom? They are serving the other part of the world, because their industrialists take the project and they provide the services to them. And these industries are played a major role, and they are noticed in, we can say, Mumbai, Chennai, and we can say Noida sector. Now coming back to, we can say, the last, we can say, the software parks. I am just showing you about different areas here. Noida region is there, then Lucknow we are having, then we will be having, we can say, Indore, then we can say Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad. All these areas one can able to see the knowledge based sectors are there. After knowing that knowledge based sectors, only we are coming to, we can say, these industrial regions are there. As per this exam point of view, I am not going to tell you all the things in detail, because only few industries we included in the syllabus, but these are the simple technical knowledge you have to see. One is about Mumbai-Pune region. You can able to talk easily how the Mumbai-Pune regions are developed, because Mumbai to Pune, even the distance is little bit long one, but now if you go to the Mumbai-Pune, this region had extended even up to Kolhapur at a distance of 300 to 400 kilometers. If you go to that entire stretch, you can see that the express highways are developed, and because of that express highways, many industrialists are coming up, and agricultural land become converted to barren land, and in that barren land, one can able to see the industries. And why these industrialists are coming away from the Mumbai? Because they require the cheap labor, they require water supply, they require transport, congestion is there, pollution is there. Therefore, this Mumbai-Pune region even extended up to Nashik, Solapur areas, and they are the leading in the different industries. It may be, we can say, textile sector, it may be automobile sector, it may be, we can say, the sugar industries. Number of industries are located on Mumbai-Pune region. Then we have Hooghly industrial region, which is very close by to Calcutta. Hooghly river is a tributary of the Ganga, and on the bank of this Hooghly river, large number of industrial sectors are developing in this area, and they also help a major role in, we can say, developing the industries in our country. Then we have Bangalore, Chennai industrial areas. This is also one of the important region. Bangalore, Chennai, even it had extended up to Mysore also, and this Bangalore, Chennai, even Mysore. Mysore is famous for the silk work. Even we can say most of the automobile industries are set up there. Bangalore is famous for, we can say, HMT now. HMT becomes in the history because already stopped their production and so on. Hindustan Aeronautics are there. All these industries are located in Bangalore, Chennai region. Chennai region is generally famous for textile sectors and so on. Now Gujarat region is very much famous for cotton textile sector. The leading supplier of the cotton textile in Indian market is Gujarat region. Chota Nagpur plateau is famous for, we can say, industrial areas where most of the small scale industries like iron steel industries, then rock, we can say, this one we can say small other, we can say, areas like handloom sectors, all those are developing in the Chota Nagpur region. Then we are having Visakhapatnam, Guntur region. This Visakhapatnam region is trying to connect now with the Bangalore also, because they are generally, Visakhapatnam is famous for shipbuilding activities, and Guntur region will be famous for railway sectors and so on. Then we are coming to, we can say, Gurgaon, Delhi, Meerut region. Again, Gurgaon is famous for our IT sector, because maximum IT sector is coming from Gurgaon, or whatever you can say, your internet, whatever the services are there, that will be provided from the Gurgaon region. If you place the order for laptop, mobile, internet, everything will be managed from this Gurgaon region, because nearby the Gurgaon areas, from the Punjab and all those sectors, the different light product, we can say, articles are manufactured, they will be assembled in Gurgaon areas. From that it will go to Delhi, then it will supply to, we can say, different part of the India. And Kollam Trivandrum region is famous for, we can say, cotton textile industries and so on, and that will be giving you the idea about how these industrial regions are there. So only it is my request to you, remember the map of the India. Once you remember the map of the India, you know what localities are there. this is we can say Noida region, because we will ask generally one question, draw the outline map of the India and locate the Noida region. But unfortunately, we face many times the problem, Mumbai is somewhere here, you are putting Mumbai somewhere. At least use your little bit brain that Mumbai is on the coastal region, so show nearby to coastal areas. Many times we see the difficulties from the student level, because they are saying like that. This is generally we can say area like Noida region. Here you can come across Chota Nagpur regions. Here you can see this particular portion, what you can able to see is nothing but we can say the Noida, this one regarding Hooghly Basin, all those areas. This will come to Gujarat belt. Then here we can say Mumbai, Pune. This you can extend it up to Nashik, then down Manmad, up to here Kolhapur side also. This particular portion will be coming here, and here we come across we can say Trivandrum and all those areas, they are famous here. And this particular side we come across the Visakhapatnam port, which is also one of the leading in that particular activity. So this particular lesson will be giving you can say many more ideas, because it will become difficult for us to cover within the short period of time, because most of the things we take at least 7 to 8 lectures, means 8 into 4. If you calculate, it will be almost we can say 320 minutes we require, but only we had given some glimpse of that particular part. As a result of that, as a student of we can say geography, you will understand something about that one. So anything anyway in the future will be teaching to you all the concept, but this is giving you some idea in that particular field. So just I'm coming to this conclusion, because these two lessons what I had covered it, I am thankful to the medias for giving me a golden opportunity to share my knowledge. I don't think I am not that much expert, but many times I prefer to go for some maps wherever there may be possibility of mistakes. We'll try to rectify it, and even the media is doing very good job to reach to you people who are cannot able to access, we can say, with the help of this whatever the technology available. So naturally this is one part what the Prudent media is doing for the Prudent Scholar. The name itself is telling that Prudent Scholar, because it will provide you the knowledge at your doorstep without we can say having the internet. So at least those who are free, or whenever you don't get anything, go to the Prudent media, upgrade yourself, and see that in this COVID-19 you will be self-dependent by yourself, because this COVID-19 had taught us many things, how to use the technology, and I think the Prudent had done a very good job to give you a golden opportunity to come forward and share your knowledge. Okay, thank you very much for the Prudent media and their staff for cooperating me in completing these two lessons.
Prudent Scholars, powered by Lupin Pharmaceuticals.
अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस। अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस। अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस।